I never thought I would be the one to tell you this. Before we begin, I need you to do something for me. Comment your city name below and tell me, have you noticed anything unusual in the night sky lately? Strange lights, objects that don't move like satellites? NASA is quietly collecting reports from civilians around the world, and your observation may be more important than you realize. Do this now, because what I'm about to share may change the way you see humanity's place in the universe. My name is Michio Kaku. I'm a theoretical physicist. I've spent my entire life studying the cosmos, searching for patterns in the fabric of reality, trying to understand our place among the stars. I've always believed that contact with extraterrestrial intelligence would be humanity's greatest achievement. I was wrong. What happened 3 weeks ago with the object we call 3E Atlas has forced me to reconsider everything I thought I knew about cosmic communication, galactic civilization, and whether humanity was ever meant to find what we've been looking for. Let me take you back to the beginning, to October 2024, when astronomers using the Atlas Survey Telescope in Hawaii detected something peculiar entering our solar system. At first, it appeared to be just another interstellar object similar to Oumuamua, that mysterious visitor from 2017 that still haunts the dreams of astrophysicists worldwide. We cataloged it as 3I Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar object to pass through our cosmic neighborhood. It was moving fast, roughly 60 kilometers, on a hyperbolic trajectory that proved it originated from beyond our sun's gravitational influence, another traveler from the deep dark between the stars. But there was something different about this one, something that made senior scientists at NASA and the European Space Agency go very, very quiet in their briefings. The object's albedo, its reflectivity, was inconsistent with any natural composition we'd encountered. It wasn't a comet. It wasn't an asteroid. Its spectroscopic signature defied classification. And then in early November, something happened that I'm still struggling to process. 3 Atlas began transmitting. I need you to understand what this means. In all of human history, we have been broadcasting into space for nearly a century. Radio waves, television signals, digital transmissions, they've been radiating outward from Earth at the speed of light since the 1920s. We've been shouting into the cosmic void, hoping someone might hear us, never really believing anyone would answer. We thought we were alone in the darkness. We thought our signals were disappearing into infinite silence. We were wrong. The transmission from 3I Atlas wasn't some random electromagnetic noise. It wasn't a natural phenomenon caused by solar radiation or magnetic fields. It was structured, deliberate. When our computers at the Deep Space Network facility in Goldstone, California, began analyzing the signal, the blood drained from every face in that room because the transmission from 3 True Atlas was our own broadcast history played back to us with perfect fidelity. Television shows from the 1950s, radio programs from the 1970s, news broadcasts from the Gulf War, reality television from the early 2000s. All of it reflected back at us like a mirror held up to humanity's face. Someone or something had been listening the entire time. I was brought into the analysis team on November 18th. By then, the initial shock had given way to a more profound terror, one that scientists rarely experience. The terror of realizing you've stumbled upon an answer you weren't prepared to understand. I remember sitting in the secure facility surrounded by the world's leading experts in astrobiology, artificial intelligence, signal processing, and evolutionary theory, and feeling a cold weight settle into my chest. The data was undeniable. The object was approximately 400 meters in length, tumbling in a non-random pattern that suggested artificial stabilization. Its surface temperature was 20 degrees C, impossibly warm for an object in deep space, suggesting an internal power source we couldn't identify. But it was the message embedded within our reflected broadcast that truly shook us. Hidden in the carrier waves, waves woven into the background noise of our own transmissions was additional data. At first, our algorithms flagged it as corruption or signal degradation from the long journey across interstellar space. But Dr. Sarah Chen from MIT's Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory recognized the pattern. It was a form of steganography, information hidden within information, a technique we use in cryptography and data security. Someone had taken our broadcasts, embedded new data within them, and sent them back to us. A cosmic message encoded in our own cultural noise. It took 6 days to extract and decode the embedded information. 6 days of running our most sophisticated AI systems, pattern recognition algorithms, and quantum computing networks. 6 days of watching the world's brightest minds slowly realize what we were looking at. And when the translation finally resolved, when we understood what 3 Atlas was trying to tell us, 3 senior scientists requested immediate psychological counseling. 1 walked out of the facility and didn't return. The message was simple, devastatingly simple. You are heard, you are seen, you are contained, contained. That single word has haunted my sleep ever since. What does it mean to be contained? The message included visual data and complex mathematical models that describe something we had only theorized about in the darkest corners of galactic sociology research. A quarantine zone. Earth and approximately 50 light years of surrounding space exist within what the message called a developmental enclosure. We are not alone in the universe. We never were, but we are isolated, deliberately and purposefully kept separate from the larger galactic community like a petri dish in a laboratory. The implications are staggering. Every question we've asked about the Fermi paradox, why we haven't detected signs of intelligent life despite the statistical probability that it should be everywhere, suddenly has a terrifying answer. We haven't heard from anyone because they've been preventing us from hearing. The cosmic silence isn't silence at all. It's a soundproof room. The message from 3 Atlas included specifications for what this quarantine entails. Any electromagnetic transmission that leaves our containment zone is intercepted, cataloged, and prevented from propagating further into the galaxy. Any physical object, spacecraft, probe, or vessel that attempts to breach the boundary is redirected or, if necessary, neutralized. We are being observed, studied, and most disturbingly evaluated like an experiment in controlled evolution. I want you to imagine for a moment what this means for humanity's understanding of itself. We have built our entire modern identity around the notion that we are the pioneers, the explorers, the species brave enough to venture into the unknown. We've dreamed of first contact, of sharing knowledge with alien civilizations, of taking our place among the galactic community. But what if we're not the explorers? What if we're the experiment? What if we're the ones being studied? Our every transmission monitored, our technological progress observed from a distance by intelligences so far beyond us that we cannot even comprehend their nature. The data included in the 3I Atlas transmission suggests that this quarantine has been in place for at least 10,000 years, possibly longer, long before we invented radio, long before we discovered fire. Whatever intelligence established this containment zone has been watching us since before recorded history. Through our evolution from hunter-gatherers to agricultural societies to industrial civilizations, they've watched us discover tools, invent language, develop science, split the atom, reach for the stars, and they've kept us locked in this cosmic cage the entire time. But why? This is the question that keeps me awake at night, staring at the ceiling of my bedroom, trying to reconcile what I know about physics with what I now know about our place in the universe. Why would an advanced intelligence quarantine Earth? The message provided partial answers encoded in mathematical relationships that describe something called consciousness phase transitions. According to the data, intelligent civilizations develop through distinct evolutionary stages, each marked by fundamental shifts in collective awareness, technological capability, and what the message called existential alignment. Earth, according to 3I Atlas, is currently in phase 2. We have achieved technological sophistication and scientific understanding, but we have not yet achieved existential alignment. We are intelligent enough to be dangerous, but not yet wise enough to be trusted. We possess nuclear weapons, but not galactic ethics. We have artificial intelligence, but not universal compassion. We can manipulate matter at the quantum level, but cannot prevent our own self-destruction through climate catastrophe, warfare, or resource depletion. Phase 3, civilizations according to the transmission, are those that have transcended internal conflict, unified their planetary consciousness, and demonstrated the capacity for responsible interaction with other intelligent species. They are the members of the galactic community. They are the ones who maintain the quarantine zones around younger civilizations like ours. They are the watchers, the guardians, the cosmic zookeepers, and we are the animals in the exhibit. The transmission included what I can only describe as a progress report on humanity's development. It was clinical, dispassionate, the kind of assessment you might write about bacteria growing in a laboratory culture. Our technological advancement was noted as accelerating within expected parameters. Our social evolution was classified as unstable but progressing. Our likelihood of achieving phase 3 status was estimated at 34%, with a margin of error that felt like a judgment on our entire species. We might make it, we might not. And the universe is simply watching to see what happens. I found myself thinking about all the times I've stood on television, in lecture halls, and in interviews talking about the search for extraterrestrial intelligence with optimism and wonder. I've told millions of people that contact with alien civilizations would be humanity's greatest achievement, that it would usher in a new era of cosmic understanding and technological exchange. I believed every word, but now I understand the naivety of that belief. Contact isn't something we achieve. It's something we're granted if we prove ourselves worthy. And right now, we're failing the test. The scariest part of the 3 Atlas message wasn't the revelation that we're being contained. It was the casualness of it. The transmission made it clear that quarantine zones like ours exist throughout the galaxy. Hundreds of them, thousands perhaps. Young civilizations developing in isolation, monitored from afar, waiting to see if they'll destroy themselves or evolve into something greater. We're not special. We're not unique. We're just another experiment in the universe's endless laboratory of consciousness evolution, and some experiments fail. The message included data on 12 other quarantine civilizations that the monitoring intelligence had observed over the past million years. 12 other worlds with intelligent species, technological capability, and the potential for galactic citizenship. Of those 12, only 3 successfully transitioned to phase 3. The other 9 destroyed themselves before achieving existential alignment. Nuclear war, ecological collapse, artificial intelligence gone catastrophically wrong. Resource wars that devastated their biospheres. The details were sparse, but the pattern was clear. Young civilizations face a filter, a great test of survival, and most of them fail. Earth is currently approaching that filter. The transmission was explicit about this. The next century will determine whether humanity survives to join the galactic community or becomes another data point in the cosmic archive of failed species. And the watchers, whoever they are, whatever they are, will not intervene. They will not save us. They will simply observe, record, and wait to see if we're capable of saving ourselves. I want to tell you that this knowledge has galvanized the global scientific community, that governments around the world have unified in response to this revelation, and that humanity is rising to meet this existential challenge with wisdom and courage. But I can't tell you that because the 3 Atlas transmission was classified at the highest levels within hours of its translation. Only a small group of scientists, military officials, and world leaders know what I'm telling you now. Most of them have decided that this information is too dangerous to share with the public. They're afraid of panic, afraid of social collapse, afraid that knowing we're trapped in a cosmic quarantine, being evaluated by intelligences beyond our comprehension, will shatter the fragile psychological frameworks that hold civilization together. Maybe they're right. Maybe humanity isn't ready to know the truth about about our place in the universe. But I've spent my entire career believing that knowledge, even frightening knowledge, is better than ignorance. And so I'm telling you, the object we call 3I Atlas has now exited our solar system. Its trajectory took it past Mars, through the asteroid belt, and out beyond the orbit of Neptune. Our last confirmed tracking data showed it accelerating faster than any natural object should be capable of moving, as if it had completed its mission and was returning home back to whatever civilization sent it, back to the watchers who have been monitoring Earth for 10,000 years. But before it left our detection range, it transmitted one final message. This one wasn't encoded in reflected broadcast or hidden in carrier waves. It was direct, simple, impossible to misinterpret. A countdown, not a countdown to disaster or invasion or first contact, a countdown to evaluation. In approximately 130 years, Earth's containment status will be reassessed. By then, humanity will have either achieved existential alignment and graduated to phase 3 consciousness, or we will have failed the test. And if we fail, the quarantine becomes permanent, not for 1,000 years or 1,000,000 years, forever. We will never leave this solar system. We will never contact other civilizations. We will live and die and evolve and potentially destroy ourselves in this cosmic cage, cut off from the larger universe, alone in the darkness of our own making. I think about this constantly now. Every time I see conflict on the news, every report of environmental destruction, every demonstration of humanity's capacity for cruelty and short-sightedness, I wonder if we're capable of passing this test. Are we wise enough, compassionate enough, unified enough, or are we doomed to become another entry in the archive of failed civilizations? Another species that possessed intelligence without wisdom, technology without ethics, power without responsibility. The scientific community is split on this question. Some researchers believe that the shock of this revelation, if it were made public, could catalyze the exact kind of global unity and existential alignment we need to achieve Phase 3 status. Others argue that it would cause panic, destabilize governments, and accelerate our path towards self-destruction. And so, we remain silent, watching the countdown tick away, hoping that humanity will somehow stumble toward cosmic maturity without knowing what's at stake. But I believe you deserve to know. I believe that keeping humanity in the dark about our cosmic situation is itself a failure of the wisdom we need to develop. How can we evolve our consciousness if we don't understand the reality we're evolving within? How can we achieve existential alignment if we don't know we're being evaluated? The message from 3I Atlas included one final piece of information that I haven't mentioned yet, something that gives me hope. Even in the face of everything I've told you, the transmission stated that quarantine civilizations are not abandoned. They're monitored, yes, contained, yes, but they're also in a strange way protected. The galactic community doesn't want us to fail. They're hoping we'll succeed. Every Phase 3 civilization was once Phase 2. They all faced this same test. They all stood on the edge of this same precipice, wondering if they possessed the wisdom to survive their own power. And some of them made it, which means we can too. I look at human history and I see the potential. I see the artists and scientists and philosophers and activists who've dedicated their lives to making our species better. I see the moments of profound compassion, the breakthroughs in moral reasoning, the gradual and painful expansion of our circle of empathy. I see a species that has repeatedly chosen growth over stagnation, hope over despair, and connection over isolation. We're not perfect. We're deeply tragically flawed, but we're also capable of extraordinary transformation. The question is whether that transformation will come fast enough. 130 years. That's roughly 5 human generations. 5 chances to fundamentally reshape our civilization, to achieve the unity and wisdom that Phase 3 consciousness requires. It sounds like a long time, but I promise you, in the scale of evolutionary change, it's barely a heartbeat, and the clock is already ticking. NASA is currently developing plans for what they're calling the Alignment Initiative, a classified program designed to accelerate humanity's social, ethical, and consciousness evolution. But they're operating in the dark, trying to guide our species toward a goal we barely understand, using methods that haven't been tested, racing against a deadline that feels both impossibly far away and terrifyingly close. I've been asked to consult on this program to help develop strategies for achieving existential alignment within the time frame we've been given. It's the most important work I've ever done, and I have absolutely no idea if it will be enough. I think about the other 9 civilizations that failed this test. I wonder what their final days looked like. Did they know they were failing? Did they have scientists like me standing in front of their people trying to sound hopeful while understanding the mathematics of their own extinction? Or did they destroy themselves in ignorance, never knowing they were being watched, evaluated, and ultimately deemed unworthy of joining the cosmic community? I don't want that to be humanity's story. I don't want us to be a footnote in some alien archive, another cautionary tale about intelligent species that couldn't transcend their own darkness. I want us to be one of the success stories, one of the civilizations that looked into the abyss, understood what was required, and found the courage and wisdom to transform. But wanting isn't enough. Hope isn't enough. We need action. We need evolution. We need every single human being on this planet to understand that we're not just living our individual lives, pursuing our personal goals, and competing for resources and status within our tribal boundaries. We're participating in a species-level test. We're either evolving toward cosmic citizenship or sliding toward permanent isolation. And the choice every single day, with every action we take and every value we prioritize, is ours. The reflection of our own broadcast sent back to us by 3 Atlas feels like a cosmic mirror. Look at what you've been telling the universe about yourselves. Look at the violence, the ignorance, the pettiness, the beauty, the courage, and the love. Look at all of it reflected back with perfect clarity. Is this who you want to be? Is this the civilization you want to present to the stars? I've been asked not to share this information. I've been told that revealing the truth about 3i Atlas and the quarantine zone could cause irreparable harm to social stability. Maybe that's true, but I keep thinking about those 130 years, that countdown to evaluation. And I realize that we can't afford to waste any more time living in comfortable ignorance. The universe has given us a deadline. And whether we acknowledge it or not, whether we believe it or not, that clock is ticking. So I'm telling you, I'm breaking the silence because I believe that humanity's greatest strength has always been our ability to face uncomfortable truths and find the courage to change. We've done it before, in our own history, countless times. We've abolished slavery, expanded human rights, developed technologies that seemed impossible, survived pandemics, rebuilt after wars, and slowly, painfully expanded our moral circle to include more and more of our fellow beings. We can do it again, and we must do it again on a global scale with existential stakes within a time frame that demands everything we have to give. The watchers are waiting. The galaxy is waiting. And somewhere out there, beyond the boundary of our quarantine zone, civilizations that pass this same test are watching to see if we'll join them. They're not our enemies. They're not indifferent to our fate. They're the ones who made it through, and they're hoping we will too. Follow this channel as we continue decoding the universe's final warnings, because this is just the beginning. The data from 3 Atlas contained far more information than I have shared here. Details about the nature of Phase 3, consciousness. Hints about the technologies and capabilities that await civilizations who achieve existential alignment, and warnings, deeply troubling warnings about the specific challenges that Earth faces in the coming decades. I'll be sharing more in the coming weeks, but right now, I need you to sit with this to really feel the weight of what I've told you. We are not alone. We never were, but we are being tested. And the test is whether we can become wise enough to handle the cosmic truth of our own existence. So let me ask you this, and I want you to really think about your answer, to comment it below, to discuss it with others, and to carry it with you as you you move through your life. If you knew with absolute certainty that humanity had 130 years to prove we deserved a place among the stars, what would you do differently? How would you live? What values would you prioritize? What legacy would you choose to leave? Because here's the truth that keeps me awake at night. The truth that I can't escape, no matter how hard I try. The countdown has started. The evaluation is coming. And every choice we make as individuals and as a species is either moving us toward the wisdom we need to survive or pulling us deeper into the darkness that has consumed so many civilizations before us. The universe is watching. The question is, what will it